Good day everyone, I am Lonilyn Perez Carpintero. So now I am going to discuss about state or government police power. So first, role of the states. The promotions and protections of human rights by individual states has an internal as well as external dimensions. Internally, states can raise their voice whenever human rights are violated. States are actively involved in the development of human rights standards, institutions, and supervisory mechanisms. They are the first violations and the intentions of international forums, and furthermore have the capacity to stimulate positive development with regards to compliance with human rights standards. So, ang pagtataguyod at proteksyon ng mga karapatang pangtao ng mga panloob at panlabas ng dimension. So, maaring internally is maaring magtaas ng boses ng mga estado sa tuwing nilalabag ang mga karapatang pangtao. So, ang mga estado ay ang aktibong kasangkot sa mga pagbuo ng mga pamantayang karapatang pangtao. Mga institusyon at mga mekanismo ng pangangasiwa, sila ang unang tumutugon sa mga paglabag at mga atensyon ng pandaigdigang pantao. Ang mga positibong pag-unlad patungkol sa pagsunod ng mga pamantayan ng karapatang pantao. Next is, at the national level, it is imperative that states commonly with international standards. These standards, however, often to provide inly and minimum safeguards, and it is those favorable and that states provide a higher level of protections by making available resources for the highest enjoyment of certain socio-economic rights. So, sa pambansang antas, kinakailangan ng mga internationals na pamatayan ang pamatayang ito. Gayunpaman ay ang kadalasang nagbibigay lamang ng pinakababang mga panggalang at sa gayon ay mas mainam na ang mga estado ay nagbibigay ng mas mataas na antas ng proteksyon sa pamamagitan ng paggawa ng mga magagamit na mapagkukunan para sa mas mataas na pagtatamasa ng ilang mga karapatang sosyo-ekonomiko. Police power. Police power is the right to protect the country and its populations from the threats to the public's health and safety. The terms police powers predates the development of the organized police forces, which did not develop until the post-colonial period. In the colonial period, police power was used to control innocents, such as tanneries that fueled the air and waters in towns, to prevent the sales of bad food, and to quarantine persons who were infected with communicable disease. Many of the colonies had active boards of health to administer the police powers. This was one of the maintained government functions of the colonial period. So, kapangyarihang pulisya, ang mga karapatang protektahan ang bansa at ang populasyon mula sa mga bansang kulusugan na kaligtasan ng publiko. Ang termino ng pulisya ay ang naunang pag-unlad ng organisadong puwersa ng pulisya na hindi umuunlad hanggang sa post-colonial na panahon. Sa panahon ng post-colonial, ginagamit ang kapangyarihan ng pulisya upang kontrolin ang mga dilisans tulad ng tanneries at bumulusok sa hangin at tubig sa mga bayan upang maiwasan ang pagbebenta ng masamang pagkain at sa quarantine na mga taong nahawaan ng mga nakakahawang sakit. Marami sa mga kolonya ang mga aktibong lupon at kalusugan upang pangasiwaan ang mga kapangyarihan ng pulisya. Isa ito sa mga pangunahing tungkulin ng pamahalaan noong panahon ng kolonyal. Police power in the Philippines is referred as the power to promote the general welfare and public interest, to enact such laws in relations to persons and property as might promote public health, public morals, publicity, safety, and the general welfare of each inhabitant, preserve public orders, and to prevent offenses against the states, and establish for the intercourse of citizens with citizens these rules of good manners and good neighborhood, calculated to prevent conflict of rights. So, ang kapangyarihan ng pulisya sa Pilipinas tumutukoy bilang kapangyarihan upang itaguyod ang pangkalahatang kapakanan at ang interes ng publiko, upang magpatibay ng mga naturang batas ng may kaugnayan sa mga tao at ari-arian na maaaring magsulong ng publikong moral, kaligtasan sa publiko at ang kalahatang kapakanan ng bawat naninirahan, at upang mapanatili ang pampublikong kaayusan at upang maiwasan ang mga pagkakasala laban sa Estado. As currently in use both in the Philippines and American decisions, then police power legislations usually has reference to regulatory measures restraining either the right to property or liberty to private individual. It is unalienable, however, that one of its earliest definitions valid then as well as now, given Marshall's successors, Chief Justice Tabby does not limit its scope to curtailment of the rights, withers of liberty of property of private individuals. So, tulad ng kasalukuyang ginagamit ng kapwa sa mga desisyon ng Pilipinas at Amerikano noon ay ang batas ng kapangyarihan ng pulisya. At gayon pa man, hindi maikaila na nasa isa sa mga kahulugan nito na wasto noon at ngayon na ibinigay ni Marshalls at nilimitahan ni Chief Justice Tabby. Those but what the police powers of state, they are both more or less than the powers of government inherent in every sovereignty, to the extent of these dimensions and whether the states passes a quarantine law to punish offenses, of to establish courts of justice or requiring certain instrument to be recorded or that regulates commerce within these own limits. In every case, it exercises the same power, that is to say the powers of sovereignty, the powers of government, and things within the limits of this domain. So, police powers is mauna sila tong mga gamit kayo to passes a quarantine law, and sila pod ang witnesses of establish court of justice. So, ang police sa government is we need to things within the limits of its domain. Importance of human rights law enforcement is in the performance of their duty. Law enforcement officials shall respect and protect human dignity and maintain and uphold the human rights of all persons states Articles 2 of the United Nations Human Rights Office of the High Commissioner's Code of Conduct of Law Enforcement Officials of 1979. So, what is the importance of human rights to law enforcement? Because this is a say of performance of law enforcement, sila tong hatag og respeto and to protect our human dignity. Law enforcement offense seen as the mediators between legal structures and social context has been under fire internationally on the basis of not fulfilling its mandate to protect. Instances like racially motivated police brutality in the United States or police brutality in the police forcible removals of positions from their property Phrase sparked international civilian outrage against law enforcement. So law enforcement is to maintain our legal structures and social conduct. So sila pod ang sila gid ang naga-protect sa ato because that was her or his rule. Importance of human rights in law enforcement work. The UN articles are clearly outlined. The rule of policing is to be representative of and responsive of accountables of the humanity as whole. Northeastern University professor and former dean at its College of Criminal Justice, Jack R. Green states, the police are the first central actors of mediating between social conditions and legal districts. Toward local, policing is on front stage of legal systems and investing the considerable discretions in determining balance or with laboratory of the police are meant to enforce and protect the right of the community while stimulating practicing and ensuring their adhere of the law. So the first the professors of the College of Criminal Justice is si Jack R. Green. So siya ang first central actors of mediating between social conditions and legal district sa policing in front of stage of legal stage system. The United Nations Professionals Training Series number 5 highlights the problems of the might within law enforcement training than insistence of bending to rules to ensure the laws upheld from forcibly ending demonstrations to removing individuals from their property torturing detains. Law enforcement without human rights taken into consideration of little to the realizations of world within liable human rights. So, si professor is siya tong nagabuhat og mga rules nga grabe na jud bitaw nga brutal na kayo buhaton nga mura nagwala na bitaw karapatan ang mga pangtao para mabuhi sa kalibutan. Then kung naa sa law, kung ang law enforcement without human, they're taking into consideration little or realizations of a world within liable human rights. The Vienna Declarations, the programs of action states that administration of justice, including enforcement, is essential to full discriminatory realizations of human rights. It goes on to recommend educations as necessary means to ensure law enforcement officials know they are enforcing. No enforcement must work to dispel the bending rules mentally, or we are the rest of an assault of human's dignity and barriers of effective policy. So, naay uban baya nga mga policies nga murag maka-insulto na sa isig katao. And that's all.